Now we are going to discuss about the concept called as a joins. Okay. So in every programming language, we have the joins. So here we have a concept called as. So if you take, we know we will cover those concepts in the sequel. So here we have a concept like the join conditions. Okay, joins. So why do we need to use the joins? So there are the tables in the database are divided into two types. Okay, we have like dimension tables. So which contains the descriptive information. So what is the descriptive information? And also we have a fact table that contains the measurable values. Okay, I can simply say measurable values or quantities or units sold. Okay, or any metrics or any parameters. Okay, so dimension table contains the descriptive information. So which is, we can go for customer table, which contains the customer details. Okay, which contains the customer details. So we can also go for the product table. The product table contains the product information. So what do we have in the customer table? We have the customer ID, customer name, customer state, customer address. Okay, these are all information that we have it in the customer ID, customer table information. So we can enter the customer ID 001 and the customer name some name John, and the customer state we can go for taking Ohio, and address we can go for taking some avenue. Okay, something like this, avenue. So when we log in into any e-commerce platform, okay, when we log in into any e-commerce platform, so what does it ask? The first thing is we log into that, we sign up. So we enter our details. Okay, what do we do? Enter the details. Okay, once we log in, once we sign up successfully, what does it say? What does it say on the screen? So welcome, John. Okay, welcome, John. Thank you for signing. So in the front end, you are called by the name John or whatever the name that you give. But in the back end, the John is called by the customer ID. Okay, the John is called by the customer ID. And we also have the product details. The product details contains the product ID, product inventory, and some product details. So what can we have it in the product ID? P001. The product inventory that is coming from the New York. Okay, product details, whether it can be a iPhone, iPad, or whatever it is. Okay, so this is what in the dimension table. When we consider the fact table, okay, so fact table contains, okay, dimension table contains, what do we have in the dimension table? Always remember, dimension table contains primary key. Okay, dimension table contains primary key. So what is a primary key again? So primary key is a uniquely identification key. Okay, uniquely identification of each and every row. Okay, of each and every row in the table. Each row is identified by one key, whatever it is. Okay, whatever the key it is a code or key, any number. Okay, any number or serial number, anything. Okay, each and every row is identified by one key. So that is primary key. So in the dimension tables, customer table, or in the product table, so what do we have? We have the primary key. Okay, we would have the primary key. And if we go for the fact table, so what do we have in the fact table? The fact table contains, okay, fact table contains, yes, fact table also contains the same thing: customer ID, product ID, transaction ID, okay, amount, okay, quantity, price, okay, quantity, price, discount, okay, quantity, price, discount, all this information, date, order date, okay, order date. So all this information will be in the fact table. For example, John. Okay, John is the customer. Okay, so when John ordered a product called as a iPhone. Okay, John ordered a product iPhone P001 and transaction ID, for example, T001, and the quantity is three quantities. He ordered iPhone 3, okay, three iPhones, and the price is, for example, $1,000, and he got some discount of 10%. Okay, so he got a discount of 10%, and the order date is, for example, 14/04/2026. Okay, 14/04/2026. The same John, okay, tomorrow. Just a second. So tomorrow, the same John, okay, the same John wanted to buy some other product. Okay, when he tried ordering some other product, okay, any e-commerce, okay, 001, customer 001, P002, okay, transaction T002, and the quantities are 4. So here he wants to buy some other gadget, okay, AC, for example, and he got the discount of 20%, and the order date is 15/04/2026. Okay, whenever John is trying, I mean, in the customer table already it is defined. Okay, when customer on the next day, when he is trying to order something from the same e-commerce, okay, in the dimension table, okay, in the dimension table, the second line or the second time the data will not be entered. Okay, remember this concept. When John is trying to order something again the next day, so it doesn't mean that this data will not be entered in the customer table. Okay, if someone is trying to order the same product again, okay, I am the John, okay, some other Johnson, okay, Johnny is trying to order the same product P001, it doesn't mean that it is going to get duplicated. Okay, it doesn't mean that it is going to get duplicated. So fact table is a transactional table. Okay, what is that? Fact table is a transactional table. So dimension table, what is the dimension table? Dimension table has the descriptive information. Descriptive information, okay, of the fact table. Of the fact table. Okay, so each and every row is identified by primary key. Okay, it contains PK, primary key. The next one is fact table contains the transactional information. Transactional information. What do we have in the transactional information? All the transactions. Amount, credit, debit, quantity, price, unit sold, any parameters, metrics. Okay, these are all information in the transaction data. And what do we have in here? Here we have the foreign keys. Okay, what does it mean? Foreign key refers primary key. Okay, foreign key refers primary key. So in general, in the organization also, so the tables are being arranged in such a way that descriptive information should go to the dimension table, transactional information should go to the any sales, revenue tables, okay, order tables, or any accounts tables. So all this table contains the transactional information. So how do we join? What is the usage of join? Okay, by using joins. Okay, by using joins, what do? We join. Okay, we join fact table with the dimension table, with the dimension table. Okay, how do we join? How we join it on the foreign key. Okay, foreign key and primary key and primary key. Okay, how do we join? We join. So the how is like join type. Okay, how is join type. Okay. So where do we join? Okay. What is the column that we take? On is a primary key or foreign key. Okay. On primary key or foreign key. So this is how we join. On primary key, or what is the common column between two tables, and how, which is like a join kind. Whether we go for an inner join. Okay. Now let us see what are all the joins that we have. Okay. This is about the dimension table and fact table. Now let us see what are all the joins that we have. Okay. The first and foremost join is left outer join. Okay. Left outer join. What is the definition of left outer join? All the records from the first table, or table A, okay, or table A or left table, and matching records from right table, table B or right query. Okay, right query. So this is left outer join. So what does it mean? So if you remember from our college days, okay, we have some diagrams. Okay, we will see that. We will see about the diagrams once we complete the definitions. Okay, the next one is right outer join. Okay, right outer join. So it is just vice versa of the left outer join. Okay, so what do? We go for just changing all records from the right table. Okay, all records from the second table or table B. Okay, or table B or right table, and matching records from the left table or table A or left query. So this is right outer join. Next join is inner join. So what is inner join? Only matching records from both tables. Okay, so we have a concept when we were in school days, A intersection B. Okay, A intersection B. We have something like, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, intersection. We also have like 3, 4, 5, and close the bracket. So what is the output? 4, 5, 3, 4 is the common column between common data in between two. What do you say? Two lists. Okay, we get the output 3, 4. Next one is full outer join. Okay, next one is full outer join. So what do we have in the full outer join? It is just like union. Okay, all records from both tables. Okay, if the data is in matching, if the data is not matching, then we will see the nulls. Okay, so this is about the joins. So if you consider, okay, if you consider the diagram, for example. So what do we have in the diagram? If you see, so we have something like this, A. So this is B. And when we go for taking left outer join, okay, what is that? A and B. If you see the list, okay, so what is that? All records from the left table. Okay, all records from the left table, and matching records from the, okay, only matching records. Okay, whatever are matching, so we get the data. So this is what A left outer join. And if you go for right outer join, okay, same thing, right outer join. All records from the right table and only matching records from the left table. Okay, so this is. Or if I go for inner join, okay, if I go for inner join, so what we are going to see? So we are going to see only matching records. So what are all the matching records? So okay, this is the matching records. Only matching records from two tables. And also we see the, so it is just like A intersection B. Okay, so in the full outer join, A union B. Okay, A union B. So this is what we have it in the joins. Let us jump into the practical. So how do we implement? Okay, so how do we implement the joins. Let us see that. The first and foremost thing is that, okay, let us implement for now. Let us implement. We will see in the practical, in the case study, we will see that. Okay, inner join. Okay, let me go for inner join. So what we need to do, only admission where hospital ID is exist. Okay, only admission where hospital ID exists in the hospitals. For example, if you take, okay, we want to go for bringing, okay, we can consider taking, okay, we can consider taking, for example, I want to join two tables. What is that? DF underscore, okay, DF underscore admission. And also I want to join another table called as a what we can go for hospital table. Okay, we can go for hospital table. Okay, so what do we want to pull from the hospital table? So we can pull, okay, let me do one thing. First of all, let us see what do we have in the DF underscore ADM admission table. What do we have? And also let me consider only three. And DF underscore hospital, what do we have? Okay, so we will get to know what we can pull from these two tables. Let me click on execute. Okay, so no longer the ID generate a new session ID. Okay. Oh, session ended. Let me refresh. The session is ended. That is the reason I asked for 10 minutes after to connect. But the thing is that I executed all, but now it's still showing the same. So let me click on the execute again. Okay, no active session. Okay, let me go for server. Okay, we can do one thing. We can go for taking one more. Okay, let me copy this. Yes, it is running. Yes, let me also run the other also. Let me click on this. So when we work on the joins, it would be useful. Yes, it is running. Yeah. Now let me click on code. So what do we need to implement? So let us go for inner join. Okay. So let's see what do we have in the admission and hospital data. So before we directly implement the joins, let me go for admission and hospital data. Yes, of course, our hospital data has hospital table would have the hospital data, admission data would have the information about the admissions, patient admissions. But let's see. So how can we join and all? Let us see that. Let us only just run top three records. Let me click on execute. Okay. So now what do we see here? We are able to see the admission information. Hospital ID in the hospital data, we are able to see the hospital name, city, state type. Okay, city, state type. So what we can do, we can get city, state type. Okay, we can bring the city, state type, and rating from the hospital table. Okay, from the hospital table, we can bring that. So how do we join? What is the common column between these two tables? Hospital ID. So if you see hospital ID is in the admissions, okay, and hospital ID is in the hospital table. And if you observe H001, yes, we have H001, H002, yes, we have H002. So based on the primary key foreign keys or based on the common column between these two tables, we can bring that. Don't worry that we are joining two dimension tables. Don't worry about that. But if you see hospital information, we also have the rating data and beds available and total number of beds. So consider it like semi-fact table. Okay, it is like semi-fact table. So what we can do, we can pull based on the hospital ID. Okay, based on the hospital ID. So we can pull the city. Okay, city, state, type, and rating. Okay, from hospital table. So we can pull it from the hospital table. Now let us see how do we join this. Okay, df underscore hospital, sorry, df underscore with hospital. Okay, df underscore with hospital. So what do we need to do? Df underscore ADM. Okay, df underscore ADM dot. So what we are trying to do? We are trying to join the tables. Okay, so let me write join. Okay, let me write join. Open the bracket. Okay, open the bracket. So let me go for what is the table that we want to join. Okay, so table that we want to join. Open the bracket. What is the table? df underscore hospital is the table name that we want to join. Okay, df underscore hospital is the table that we want to join. The next thing is that how do we join? Okay, what is the column that we want to join? So we want to join it on the hospital ID. In the SQL, what do we do? Left outer join, fact table equal to dimension table. Okay, fact table, dimension table. And what do we do? The next thing, on equal to, here what do we do? Hospital ID, comma. Okay, comma. So in the SQL, what do we do? Left outer join. We specifically mention left outer join. But here what do we do? We write how equal to inner. Okay, how equal to inner. Okay, close the bracket. Okay, what we are trying to do here? So we are trying to join the table hospital. How do we want to join? On which column do we want to join? On hospital ID. What is the join condition? How? Inner join. Okay, general English language. Okay, so what do we need to do here? So we can select the columns that we want to see. df underscore with hospital. Okay, we can select the columns. Okay, let me click on the tab directly. So we are able to see. So what are all the columns that we want to bring? Hospital ID, hospital name, city, state, type, rating. Okay, we want to see all these columns. So let me click on execute and let's see whether we get the output or not. Okay, so we got hospital name is ambiguous. Okay, what it is saying? Hospital name is ambiguous. Why hospital name is ambiguous? Okay, so if you remember from the SQL, okay, so there are, for example, so hr called what is that? hr called the name, for example, John. So he came to the floor and he called John. Okay, so two Johns stood. Okay, two Johns stood. Okay, from different cubicles. Okay, different cubicles or from different cabins. Okay, so HR said I want to see the John from IT team. Okay, HR again said I want to see John from IT team. John from IT team. Then one John he sat down, and another John he went to meet. Another John from the IT team he went to meet HR. Okay, what do we understand? So if the HR know John, the surname or the first name or the last name of John, okay, he would have called by the last name John. Okay, Mitchell Johnson or John Grisham, something like that. Okay, so if he know that John Grisham, yes, he would have called by the full name, but he know the first name and he called John, and two John stood up and he said no, I want to see the John from IT team. Then one John he just went off and he met HR. So here also what it is saying, hospital name is ambiguous. What does it mean? Hospital name is existing in the admission. Okay, if you see, hospital name is existing in the admission table and also hospital name existing in the hospital table. So what it is saying, can you please pull the column, which table hospital name that I want to get? Okay, it is saying that. So what do we need to mention here? So we need to mention df underscore, okay, df underscore ADM. Okay, df underscore ADM. So we are explicitly saying that I want to see the data from the admission table. Okay, now if you see hospital ID, hospital name, what is the city, state, type, and rating. And if you see here, show, let me go for, okay, no problem, no problem. So if you see Apollo Multi-Speciality Hospital from Hyderabad got 4.7 rating. Okay, Fortis got 3.9 rating. Okay, so if you also want to go for order by, so we can also go for order by. Okay, order by. So what is the column name? So we can go for the column name rating. Okay, comma. So we can go for ascending or descending. Okay, so we have something called as ascending, descending. Let me check what is the ascending or descending. Yeah, ascending equal to false. Okay, we need to go for ascending equal to false, comma. Okay, ascending equal to false. Okay, we need to close the bracket. Dot show. Okay, now let me click on execute. Now what we are able to see? Yes, now we are able to see the ascending from the top. Okay, we were saying, okay, 4.7 rating. Okay, three hospital got 4.7 rating. Okay, it is getting repeated. You can ignore that. Okay, it is getting repeated. You can ignore that based on the data. Okay, so we are getting it. Don't worry about the data. So this is how we join. Okay, what is the type of the join? Inner join. So how we are joining? On the hospital ID. Okay, what we are selecting? Get the hospital from the admission. Hospital name from the admission. So this is inner join. Okay, this is inner join. So if you also want to get, okay, if you also want to join more than two tables. Okay, join more than two tables. Okay, how do we join? Okay, we can join it by using df underscore. For example, let me join. The first thing is that, okay, join admissions with the doctors. Okay, with the doctors on doctor ID, for example. Okay, with the doctor ID. So let me go for df1 equal to. So what we can do, we can go for df underscore adm, open the bracket. Okay, sorry, we are trying to join. So let me go for dot join, open the bracket. So here we are able to see what is the join condition. Okay, df underscore doc on doctor ID, how inner join. But we do not want to go for the inner join. For now, let me click on tab. Okay, in place of inner join, let me go for left outer join. Okay, left outer join. The next thing is that, so let us join. Let me take this off. Okay, so next thing is that we want to get, okay, join the same thing. Okay, join the same on patient data. Okay, patient table. Okay, so by this, what we can do? Okay, doctors treating patients, we get to know, so which doctor is treating what kind of a patient's information. Okay, from different states. For example, if we go for from different states, yes, we will get it. Okay, the next thing is that what we can do, so we can go for df. Okay, let me take this off. Okay, let me take this off. So let me go for df2. Okay, equal to, so df1 dot join. Okay, so what we are trying to join? We are trying to join with df patients. Okay, let me open that. Df underscore pat, comma. So if you want to select the columns, yes, we can select the columns. Okay, so I want to see the particular column. Okay, I do not want to select all the columns. If you want to select the particular columns, what we can do, we can go for select columns. Okay, select patient ID, comma, patient name. Okay, here we are mentioning the column names. Patient name, comma, age, comma. So we can select the gender, comma. So we can select the city. Okay. So here what we can do, we can close the bracket. Here we have selected the columns. Okay. In the joins, we have selecting the columns. Now what do we need to do? We need to go for joining. How do we join? On patient ID. And what is the, how we need to join? Left outer join. Okay. What do we need to join? Left outer join. So let me take this off. Okay. Let me take this off. Now what do we need to do? So here we can go for df underscore df3. Okay. df3 dot. Okay, df3 dot. So here we can select the column names. Okay, what we are trying to do here, we can select the column names. So we are joining with the admission table. Okay, doctors table, admission table. We are joining with the doctors table, and we are joining again with the patient table. So there would be like multiple columns available in these three tables, but we do not want to go for selecting all the columns. What we can do, we can select particular columns. Okay, here if you see, we are getting the suggestions. Okay, so let me ignore the suggestions, only select the particular columns. Let me open the bracket. So here let me go for selecting the admission. Okay, admission. Okay, admission ID. Yeah, let me go for the tab, patient name, age, gender. Okay, so here we have the department is existing in both tables. Okay, so let me go for df underscore adm, open the bracket, open these brackets, and also close the bracket. Okay, the next thing is that if you also want to see some other doctor's name, yes, it is included. And the next thing is that let me go for taking the status. The last one is treatment cost. Okay, treatment cost underscore INR. Okay, so now what we see, so we can go for dot show. So let me go for taking only 3 records. Okay, only 3 records, or let me ignore this. So here we are getting error, df3 dot select. Okay, not df3, df2. Okay, so let me click on execute. Okay, now if you see, we are able to see all the data. So admission ID, patient name, what is the age, gender, city, hospital name. I mean, which is like which patient, okay, joined in which hospital, who treated, and what is the department, what is the status, and how much this patient Lakshmi has paid. Okay, she paid 1 lakh. And the next one is another patient, so who joined in the Max Cure, Max Super Specialty Hospital, and she paid this amount. So now if you see, we have all the data. So what did we do? By using the left outer join, we combined the admission table, we combined with the patient table, and in the patient, we are only selecting these set of columns. So in SQL, what do? We join, we just mention, we give the alias name and select the columns. Okay, so what we are explicitly in the join itself, we are trying to mention the column names and how do we join, which column we are joining, and what is the type of the join type. And the next one, we are trying to select df underscore df2 dot select. Okay, from these two, we are trying to select the columns. Okay, yes, we did. Okay, yes, we did. But what is the next thing that we need to do? So let me go for the code. Okay, what is the next thing? So we can go for creating the views. Okay, we can create the views, or we can also go for taking, write all these into the tables. Okay, write all these into the tables. So let me, okay, so let's directly go for writing the data. Okay, write these into the tables, into delta tables. Okay, delta tables. So let me go for writing. So what we can do, so let me go for from PySpark dot functions, PySpark dot SQL dot functions, SQL dot functions import call. Okay, so what is the thing that we need to do? So here we can select particular columns. Okay, here we can select particular columns. So let me go for selecting particular columns, and we can remove the particular duplicate columns. Okay, so let me go for df underscore doctor equal to df underscore from the doctor table. Let me only select a few columns. Okay, so we can go for doctor ID, comma, doctor name, doctor name. Okay, and the next one is experience, comma, experience. Let me select only the experience. We do not want to see all the columns. So let me go for the next step is that let me go for combining it with okay df underscore okay. So let me go for df2. Okay, let me give the name as df2. So let me join with okay admission with doctor table. Okay, df underscore adm dot join. Okay, so df underscore doc comma. So how do we join? On equal to doctor id comma. How do we join? We can join it with left. Okay, so here we can select the number of columns that we want to see. df okay df2 dot, we can select the columns. Okay, whatever the columns that we want to see, we can select the columns. Okay, whatever the columns that we want to see, we can select the columns. But let me go for saving it directly. I do not want to take all the columns. I do not want to select it, but let me click on running this. Okay, let me click on running this. Let's see whether we get it or not. Okay, we got it. Now what do I do? So let me write the same data to the delta table. Okay, I do not want to take all the columns. I do not want to join all the tables and write it at once. Okay, what is our main agenda? The main agenda is to join all these three tables. Okay, five tables. Okay, we want to join five tables. In the medallion architecture also, we do the same thing when we try to push the silver layer into the gold layer. So mainly silver layer is used for dealing with the joins. Okay, mainly silver layer is used for dealing with the join. So let me not take much time. So let me copy this. Okay, let me directly show it over here. So what we are trying to do. So here we are trying to select the columns from the doctors table. Okay, the next thing is that we are trying to join based on the doctor ID. Okay, and what is the next step we are doing? We are whatever it is joined. Okay, this data we are trying to join it with the patient data. And the next one is we are trying to save these columns. Okay, and we are trying to save this into the delta table. How do we save? So write. Okay, what is the format? Delta. So what is the mode? Overwrite. Okay, when there is a duplicate data, it will not allow. And what is the option? Is header equal to true? And what is the name of the table? Full admission view. And we will save select star from. Okay, we will save something like this. Let me click on execute. Let's see whether we get the output or not. Yes, now the data is saved. Okay, now the data is saved. Let me check it in the catalog. Okay, so let me check under the samples. No, let me check it in the workspace only. Okay, we can search. I think we can search by the name. Let me search. Yes, now we are able to see in the default, we have the table. Okay, in the default, we have the table. What? Let me push it over here. Okay, so table, yes, we have that workspace default to view. Okay, now we are able to see the data. Okay, the table. So what we can do, we can directly run this. Okay, select the star from the view. Okay, select the star from the full admission. Okay, let's see that. Select the star from what is the name? Full admission view. Let me click on execute. Let's see whether we get the output or not. Yes, it is running. Yes, now we are able to see the data. Okay, admission, patient name, age, gender, doctor, department status, and how much amount that the patient is paid. Okay, this is the flow in and around in the project in the real time and all. So what did we do? We read all the tables, and after that we made necessary changes, necessary cleaning, necessary selection of the only particular columns, and after that we joined all the tables. And once we joined, yes, These are all the columns that is being expected by the clients. Then we moved the same table into the Delta format because PySpark or in the Databricks, the tables are accepted in the format of Delta tables. Okay, the way we have .csv, .excel, .pbix, .sql in Fabric or in the Databricks, the format is Delta. Okay, after joining all the tables, what we did, we wrote, okay, we saved the data in the Delta format. Okay, this is about, okay, this is about the PySpark session.